Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Coming up tonight on Our News, the F&M elects a new leader. Meanwhile, 4 men shot in Grand Bahama hospitalized. The health minister warning people to follow COVID protocols during the holidays. And there could be more Canadian tourists coming our way. Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs, topping news tonight. Nearly 2.5 months after the Free National Movement suffered a crushing defeat at the polls, the party has elected a new leader. Marco City MP Michael Pintard emerged victorious in a 3-man race of MPs from Grand Bahama. Kyle Joaquin has been covering the F&M convention all day and filed this report.
When the dust settled after the F&M's one-day convention today, Marco City MP Michael Pintard took the stage as F&M leader. Holding hands with his fellow Grand Bahama MPs, Iram Lewis and Kwesi Thompson, whom he ran against, Pintard says this one is about unifying the party. He won handsomely with 293 votes, beating Lewis, who had 44 votes, and Thompson, who secured 103 votes. During his victory speech, Pintard apologized for missteps of the previous F&M government and promised to listen to and look out for all.
The truth is, sometimes we didn't listen to you the way we ought to. Sometimes we forgot that we are your servants. We work for you, that we have temporary jobs. And so we needed to exercise collectively, no one person, no two person, collectively we needed to demonstrate humility that comes from a servant heart.
Pintard calling on former F&M MPs who, under the party's previous leadership, up and left to return home.
We're calling on our sister, Loretta Butler Turner. We want you to know the tent is open. Feel free to join us. Hubert Chipman, Richard.
The new F&M leader making a commitment to be a leader of the people, from those who supported him to those who didn't, and even those on the other side of the political divide.
I commit to dedicate myself every day to work tirelessly on behalf of all of you, and to listen to you, to collaborate with you. Our collective genius is always better than a single-minded focus of a leader or a small group of leaders. We need all of you.
And Pintard was not alone in his victory. Former F&M leaders Tommy Turnquest and Hubert Ingram on stage, lending their support and their voice.
I want you to know, he has my support. He can call on me anytime, anywhere, any day. Go for it, Michael.
Noticeably absent in that picture was outgoing F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who was there earlier to vote and said this when asked whether he'd have a good relationship with whoever won.
I'm an F&M. I will always remain an F&M, and I will work to improve the F&M and ensure that the F&M re-emerge as the government of the party.
But when it was time for former leaders to unite on stage with the newly elected leader, Minnis was absent. Pintard says he doesn't feel slighted.
I'm sure Dr. Minnis has some legitimate reasons why he may not be here, but I expect that each time I pick up the phone to call my former leader, he is going to make himself available so that we could discuss the issues that affect the Bahamian people.
But still, the evening was about Pintard and the future of the F&M. For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Current and former Free National Movement MPs are hoping today's convention will help to unite the party. With Michael Pintard elected leader, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram says there's a lot of work to do and healing will take time. However, he's optimistic that Pintard can get it done.
He will reach out, and he will not be someone who excludes anybody or kick anybody to the curb. I think that F&Ms will come to accept and like that this is a new kind of leadership that we have, and we'll embrace it and go forward with it.
When it comes to uniting people just have to be accepting of uniting with others. Okay. You know, if someone is going to be difficult, then they're going to remain on the outside. We need to come together for the country, for the party. It's the best party in the country.
Former Elizabeth MP Dr. Dwayne Sands and former Bamboo Town MP Renward Wells both expressing confidence that the party will emerge united.
Actually, I think we have a far better chance now. As you know, I was an integral part of a number of those conventions, so I have some inside information as to what went down, how it went down. the successes and the disappointments. The chemistry, the feeling, the vibe is very different this time.
This party is going to emerge completely united and ready to just continue to prosecute the future for the Bahamian people, to begin to be able to put forward the kind of clear vision as we've done over the past 5, 6, 10 years, 50 years, as a matter of fact.
4 men were hospitalized in Grand Bahama on Friday night after a shooting incident on Cornwallis Drive off Columbus Drive. According to police, the incident transpired shortly after 8 p.m. When officers arrived on scene, they were informed that a group of men were at a residence when they were approached by a gunman who started shooting at them. 3 of those men were shot in the leg, while a 4th man was grazed in the head. The victims were all transported to the Rand Memorial Hospital to seek medical attention and were listed in serious but stable condition. Also in Grand Bahama, a man struck a woman in the head, then tried to rob her. Police say the woman arrived at her home in South Bahamian when she was struck in the head with an unknown object. The man tried to rob the woman of her belongings, but eventually fled the area. The woman was taken to the Rand Memorial Hospital via ambulance for medical attention. Police here in the capital are investigating 2 shooting incidents that occurred on Friday night. In the first shooting, police were alerted to the sounds of gunshots on Lily of the Valley corner by shot spotter technology. When officers investigated, they learned that a man was shot and taken to hospital in a private vehicle. He's listed in serious condition. In the second incident, police were alerted to a shooting at a home on Simonette Avenue, Chippingham. On arrival, they met a man suffering from gunshot wounds. He was later taken to hospital by ambulance, where he is listed in serious condition. Following the central bank's confirmation of a rise in the price of goods and services across most categories this year, Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkita says it's not surprising given the similar situation being faced in the U.S.
With these things, particularly as we talk about inflation, we have in certain issues with shipping and supply chain and all of that that's exacerbating that. But you're quite right. We import just about everything, and so we will feel the effects. They tend to be cyclical. And so at a certain time of the year, you might see, increased demand, particularly in the holiday season, and we expect that to smooth out. But our inflation tends to track the U.S.
According to the central bank, up to June 2021, the inflation rate moved higher to 0.90% from 0.88% a year earlier. This coincided with a 42.3% increase in crude oil prices to $72.94 per barrel from January to September this year. The central bank stated that inflationary pressures are anticipated to remain moderately contained despite the rise in international oil prices. Still, Halkita says there are signs that the prices will level off by early 2022.
We expect that to even out in the new year, and it's one of those vagaries of economics. In a period it'll be up, and then it'll come back to normal.
Still to come, the health minister stresses the importance of safety during the holiday season, and the country could soon see more Canadian visitors. Later, National Emergency Medical Services receives new handheld radios courtesy of USAID. Stay tuned.
'Twas the night before Christmas, but down on the beach, Santa was worried, his sleigh out of reach. To make sure this Christmas did not end up tragic, he must call the elves to bring some real magic. They laughed and they said it's not all about business. This year we've decided to deliver more Christmas. With giveaways 31 days in a row, we'll fill up your stockings with prizes and dough. Then Santa kicked back, he relaxed as he knew. Rev delivers real magic and more Christmas to you.
The health minister urging Bahamians to adhere to COVID safety protocols during the holiday season, especially those who are traveling. Dr. Michael Darville stressed that wearing masks, frequent hand washing, and social distancing are still the best way to prevent the spread of the disease.
The studies have cleared that individuals who wear their masks, there is a 53 to maybe 55% chance of not getting COVID if you're exposed to COVID. Likewise for hand washing. It's very important to wash your hands, sanitize, and social distancing is also proved that if you're properly social distant, you are at less chances of getting COVID-19. So for Bahamians who intend to travel abroad, Make sure that when you're in public places, you wear a proper mask over your nose and mouth, sanitize regularly, and when you're in lines, try to social distance. They are important public health tools that can help you, even if you're vaccinated or for those who are unvaccinated.
Though case numbers are low, Dr. Darville says health professionals are building capacity in the event of a fourth wave.
We are going to do our best. We are going to continue with our vaccination program. We are going to now look closely at implementing free testing programs throughout the country. We're going to make sure we develop the proper digital platform for contact tracing. We're going to integrate and amalgamate all of these things together to do an excellent job on policing infections in our country and to be able to handle clusters of infections should they become available in our family islands or New Providence or Grand Bahama.
As she wrapped up her first official trip to the Bahamas, Canadian High Commissioner to Jamaica and the Bahamas, Emina Tudakovich, said there is opportunity for more Canadian travelers to visit the Bahamas. Tudakovich pointed to the decrease in new COVID cases and climbing vaccination rates.
You know, the availability of antigen tests, they're free at the hotel here, which I thought was really good. The staff have been amazing in terms of, you know, mask wearing and protocols. And so that's really good. So I think speaking as a tourist, I think that's what people are looking for now, right? On a good note, for sure, though, I think there's a lot of pent-up demand from Canada. People who didn't travel last summer or didn't travel last winter. The winters are cold in most parts of Canada, so I think there's an appeal there. So I think the tourism prospect is actually really good.
From educational collaborations to clean energy partnerships, Tudakovich said Canada and the Bahamas have a lot to offer each other, including an increase in trade and business ventures.
Where we see a lot of opportunities is clean tech and infrastructure. And sort of smart building technology. So that's one kind of obvious one. The other thing we've raised is Canadian beef. This has been an issue for a number of years, that Canadian beef is not, it stopped arriving on island, I think it was 2004, because of the concerns about bovine bee. It's the mad cow disease, right. Which has not been an issue now for a really, really long time. So that's something we'd like to see pushed. And we're trying to facilitate sort of introductions between Canadian companies and Bahamian companies, or and the government, to see where some opportunities lie. So baby steps.
When our news comes back from the break, Fusion boasts a 60% staff vaccination rate, and USA donates vital equipment to the PHA. We have the details when our news weekend returns.
Bahamas Red Cross, Hands for Hunger, and Bahamas Harvest Church are all very mission-centric organizations that drive impact in times of crisis. In order for them to realize their impact, they leverage our technology, whether it's our wireless services, whether it's our fixed services, to really be able to coordinate with NEMA and other governmental organizations who are often trying to have the greatest impact in the largest amount of space and territory after any natural disaster. And so when I think about how do I leverage my role as CEO, it's not just about driving performance from an organization perspective or even just customer service. It's around how are we impacting the lives, because ultimately our technology is a way of connecting people. I'm Franklin Butler, CEO of KO Bahamas Group of Companies. And if you'd like to join me in supporting one of our local NGOs, please visit rev.bs/connecting people who care.
Nearly 60% of staff at Fusion Superplex is vaccinated, according to CEO Carlos Folks, who says they are encouraging all staff to get the jab by year's end. Though vaccination is not mandatory, he said it is important to keep both staff and customers safe.
Vaccination is not a requisite, it's a request. But in the event you're not vaccinated, we do have a protocol for testing on a weekly basis that you are required to do. And so if you're going to come to work, it's best that you're vaccinated. It's easier for everybody, and it's definitely easier for the guests. But our customers are appreciative of the fact that our staff have already undertaken significant vaccination protocols. I think we are north of 60% already, and we are aiming to get our staff close to 90% by the end of the year.
Fusion lost millions of dollars after it was forced to close for months during the pandemic. The facility is currently operating without a full staff complement, but the aim is to bring more employees on soon.
The environment is safe. We have not had any outbreaks anything related to COVID infections out of this facility. And we have never been a super spread event. We've never even been a minimum spread event, not that we're aware of. And we're very grateful for that. Our employees are very safe. This weekend will be the first weekend we go back to that full hours. And so we don't expect immediately that everybody would return to the business. In addition to that, we still are, I think, administering some level of occupancy restriction. So we're not going to go 100% in the theater yet, but we will grow over the coming days.
The United States Agency for International Development donated $200,000 worth of laboratory and laundry equipment to the Public Hospitals Authority this week. 12 radios, an industrial steam ironer and folding machine were made possible through a grant of $750,000 from the United States in the fight against COVID-19. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville thanked USAID for its assistance.
I want to thank USAID for what I call a gift of love, because there's many other places in the world where you can go to donate, but you've chosen us, and we take it very, very, very seriously. I know about the radios, and I know how important they would be to provide emergency medical services throughout the country, mainly Abaco, Grand Bahama, and New Providence.
Darville called the handheld radios an essential tool as National Emergency Medical Services staff have experienced challenges with communication due to breaks and distorted transmissions. Thanks to USAID's donation, crews now have the model used by the communication branch of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. USAID Regional Director Clinton White said they'll continue to support the Bahamas in any way they can.
The United States government, through USAID, continues to work closely with the government of the Bahamas and various stakeholders to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Since the start of the pandemic, we have worked together to provide ongoing systemic funding in the Bahamas via various implementing partners, including the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, or IFRC, and the Bahamas Red Cross.
Still ahead, how one group is helping to spread holiday cheer, and we have the winner of this week's True Bahamian.
Bahamas Red Cross, Hands for Hunger, and Bahamas Harvest Church are all very mission-centric organizations that drive impact in times of crisis. In order for them to realize their impact, they leverage our technology, whether it's our wireless services, whether it's our fixed services, to really be able to coordinate with NEMA and other governmental organizations who are often trying to have the greatest impact in the largest amount of space and territory after any natural disaster. And so when I think about how do I leverage my role as CEO, it's not just about driving performance from an organization perspective or even just customer service. It's around how we're impacting the lives, because ultimately our technology is a way of connecting people. I'm Franklin Butler, CEO of KO Bahamas Group of Companies. And if you'd like to join me in supporting one of our local NGOs, please visit rev.bs/connecting people who care.
One non-profit organization is helping to spread holiday cheer to children in need with a Christmas toy giveaway. Black Men United Bahamas is aiming to give away over 500 toys during the holiday season.
We are hoping to raise some volunteers, funds through our GoFundMe page, where you can find it at our website. That's bmubahamas.org. And if you want to be a part of it, you can find it right there. We're partnering with the International Church of God in Christ. They're sending their Latin American district manager, Stephen Furtick, down here, and he's bringing some friends down here to come and help us. And we're just trying to raise a lot of funds right now and a lot of gifts to give back to the kids on that day.
The toy drive is set for December 5th. Donors can drop off toys to the new Redeemed Tabernacle Kojic, or Global Worship Center. And before we wrap up, here is this week's winner of the True Bahamian contest. Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Jared Higgs. We'll see you right back here for Our News at 11:30. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.